3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Toasty Tentacle. I'm your host, the Reverend Ellsworth. And of course, we are joined today by the amazing, the astounding Rebecca Paone. She is a local improv actress. She's a charity. She's an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. Yes. Welcome to the show, Rebecca.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Hello, world.
It's a strange world. I don't know if you've done any stage acting. Well, I think I've stalked. I mean, I have researched my guests. Yeah, no, I have now I had reason, Your Honor. I had reason to look up her details on the internet, and what it may have said is you were involved with the improv troupe at some point. So I imagine you are used to working with audiences. That's what I was getting at.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's the part I was getting at, not the stranger other part. So all that was to say, we are in a day and age where all performers who have spent their lives building this timing with the audience have now gone, hey, I imagine you're laughing now.
Yeah.
And for my next bit, yeah. So it's very quiet on that side. How are you dealing with the silence as a performer?
I'm not dealing with it too well because I was making actually most of my income, actually about 90% of my income, or pretty much 100% of my income, was all in acting. So I am non-union. So I was doing a lot of non-union work, doing theater. I was doing actually children's theater 5 days a week, 2 shows a day, and getting paid, $40-$80 a day on acting. And then all of a sudden everything disappeared. So
I'm sorry. Let's not just glaze past what you said. Can you hear me okay? Did you say $40 to $80 a day doing children's theater?
Yes, I did.
Rebecca, what on earth is children's theater? Do tell.
Do tell. So I was in a traveling little troupe, which is based out of Michigan. It's called Timeless Tales Theater. She had originally started it in Florida, the director and owner, and then moved to Michigan to take care of her family. So she had a troupe here in Florida, and she had a troupe in Michigan. And she's recently shut down the troupe in Florida so she can focus strictly on Michigan because I guess long distance directing doesn't work. But anywho, she actually was talking to daycare centers, after school programs, and doing 30-minute, fairy tale stories with 2 to 3 to 4 actors, and doing those shows about 5 to 8 times a week, depending on the week.
Wow, that is... Okay. Well, it's funny. It's funny that you bring it up because I guess I could imagine. I just never. It's not that I don't believe you or that I don't believe that such a thing existed. It's just I've never had those thoughts rubbed together in my head. Like, oh, children's theater actor, like dinner theater actor. Sure, I've been to dinner theater, but it's really funny because I myself arguably am a children's theater actor. Yes, I did one amazing performance with a woman who was clearly out of her depth, who spent way too much on production and had like no money left over when it was done. But I got to play the voice of a small fish that was part of a book, and it was abysmally awful. But they were children, so they didn't know any better. So it was wonderful, Rebecca.
Exactly. So with children's theater, it's really fun is because kids don't know what you're doing. They don't know the script. They know the general story if it's a fairy tale, but they're very responsive. Sometimes they can be a little bratty. Don't get me wrong.
What, Rebecca? Children hard to work with?
They
whatever do you mean?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. No, good. Keep going.
Yeah, I know. They heckle you. And I love when children heckle you because then you get to go, snip it. But it's cut it out. Yeah.
Cut it out.
But no, children's theater was actually enjoyable for me because
Right.
it was just never the same group of kids. So sometimes they were really into it. Sometimes they went wandering off and walked off in the middle of your show. But no, they really were fascinated by it. It's different than adult theater because I do also adult improv, American immersion theater.
Oh, okay.
So murder mystery theater stuff. But
Oh.
it's all improv because even though it is scripted, you
Mhm.
never know what people are going to say,
Well,
especially when they're not trained actors.
that's funny. What do they call that? They call that, it's not working the crowd, but when you're in character, like okay, so my experience was Rocky Horror Picture Show. So a lot
Okay.
of my friends from the Florida area were part of Interchangeable Parts, and they would do the Rocky Horror Picture Show like every Saturday night down at the St. Pete Beach Theater. And what a couple of them were very big on that were actually actors in Disney, but I digress, is they would maintain that you should always stay in character. So if you were going to be Frankenfurter for the night,
Hmm.
you come out in Frankenfurter and you've got the lab coat on, but then you come up to people in the crowd and be like, "Are you ready for some experimentation?" And it's not um you're never off, if that makes
Correct.
sense. You're always in that mindset. And they called it, I forgot what they called it, but they called it like, "Oh, don't forget your like inner acts," or something like that, where they were like, as a costume player, as a character actor, keep going, keep going.
Yeah, and that's like what we do is when we do things with American Immersion Theater, you have usually 1 to 5 actors, usually on average for a party. As long as you have at least 7 guests at the party, you can have every single guest and every single person get involved in the whole murder mystery. And when you are on those murder mystery, things, you can't get out of character because you're involved with the entire play. You have to tell people in your character, the clues you can give them, and then answer questions. Even it's ridiculous stuff, even flirting with the clients as well when they're trying to,
Oh.
give you a compliment.
Oh.
Thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. Your
Oh.
wife is right next to you. Is that going to be okay when she kicks you in the middle of the show? Okay, thank you, thank you. It's a
was that
wonderful.
was that part of the script? I didn't know. I'm taking notes. Oh no, that was all right. Okay, I won't put it on my. All right.
And then, like, if I play like an 8-year-old little girl character, I'm just like, "Excuse me, I don't know why you're talking to me like that, but stranger danger, stranger danger," things like that.
That was horrifying. That was
I
hard.
know,
That was
isn't it?
horrifying on so many levels. So that way, I mean, I think what you were going for in this art piece was accomplished on so many
Thank
levels. Just
you, thank you.
and
I appreciate that.
no, that was quite good, Rebecca. That was quite. So immersion theater. That's now just a quick side note, but very much in the same vein. Do you have a performance curriculum vitae? Do you have like a piece of paper with all of your acting credits and all of your experiences?
I do have an acting resume, if that is what
Okay.
you're asking.
Yes,
I
yes, yes. I know. Yes,
yes,
thank
yes,
you.
yeah. I don't have a bachelor's degree in theater arts. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm just like a backdoor bootlegging actress who
No,
takes.
no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Get my agent on the phone. Get my agent.
I know,
This is
sorry.
ridiculous. Can't
I
be.
did go
No,
to
no,
like
you're fine.
a,
You're
a,
fine.
a fly by night theater company.
Oh, a
No,
fly by night. What?
no, it's a somewhat legitimate company if you consider the Barbizon School a legitimate company. Let's just name drop right there. Yes, I know. Just fix. Oh, thank you, thank
Uh,
you. But no, I did go to an
yes.
acting school for like a year and a half, and I did
Right.
get a lot out of it.
Sure.
I had 3 different teachers, 2 female actors who had very successful careers, and one of them was actually still acting, and one was still in SAG, and actually in the 2017 Oscars, she was one of the judges for Best Film.
Oh, hell
So
yeah.
she was telling me a lot about how the whole process worked. Her husband was in the film industry as well as a DP, and some other credits to his name. And so she was awesome to kind of pick her brain and I had one male teacher who actually taught me the Meisner method. He worked at the Beverly Hills Playhouse. So he basically brought in his book and taught us straight from his book. So what I
So
know. I was like,
he
oh, pretty,
he
pretty
taught
book
he taught from his own book.
from the
Is that
Beverly.
common in acting? Is that
What? We're broke? What?
I
We
don't
just
know.
we just take things that we have already learned and just rehash it in a new way.
Wha- Rebecca, my goodness, whatever do you mean? That's the exact advice a friend gave me. She's like, listen, I'm going to tell you exactly how to make money by taking snippets from other people and rebranding them and repackaging them and selling them to other people, saying, let me tell you how to do the very thing I just did. And I'm like,
Well, isn't that most influencer marketing right now and most memes?
well, I mean, I was describing the multi-level marketing, but yeah, I mean, it's the same model, just a different technology, really. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is. It is. If you think like, everybody copies Kim Kardashian for their next Instagram post.
yeah, yeah.
Or, you take a meme and redo the meme, or, a stupid video and redo the stupid video yourself to repost it.
I'm sorry. What do you have against stupid videos, Rebecca?
They
What do
eat all of
you,
my time. Are you kidding me? I love
what do
watching those things,
you,
especially
what do you have against stupid videos? Huh?
no, 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 no. That's
Huh?
children's theater.
What you got against stupid videos, huh, Rebecca?
No, I love watching children put Mentos into Coca-Cola thinking nothing's going to happen. And then all of a sudden you see soda coming out their nose.
What you got
It's one,
against stupid videos?
there's nothing
You're
wrong
in
with
a
stupid videos.
stupid video.
I'm in an interview. Stupid videos are completely different. When you deliberately try to do a jackass movie in
She's in denial.
I'm in denial. I grew up in Westchester, Pennsylvania, land of Bam Margera. Of course, I know what stupidity is. Good old Bam. Hi, Bam, if you're watching this.
Good old Bam. Bam. Do you think he really tortured his mom that bad, or do you think that was like, half of that? Half of that was real, and half of it was a lot of theater.
Well, I would have to say, it's half and half. Reality
Okay.
mimics life, but it's not reality.
No.
I know through the grapevine, because he didn't go to school with me directly. He went to the opposing high school that I went to, but he was friends with friends, and he's a local celebrity back home. I think some of the things that he did obviously drove his parents up a wall.
Yeah.
Because obviously doing it for television, and putting your Lamborghini at risk, it doesn't make any sense. Or blowing
I'm
your
sorry, putting your Lamborghini. I love how it's not putting his life at risk. Oh
his
no,
Lamborghini.
it's
No.
putting his Lamborghini at risk. That's the true crime against civilization.
Well, he blew up things in his backyard.
He did. He was wildly irresponsible.
And knowing where his family lived initially when the first several series episodes came out, and knowing
Mm,
where his family lived, God bless that neighborhood and God bless his parents. But no, like Westchester is very much middle. I don't want to say middle America, but it's an affluent community. Don't get me wrong.
right.
So there's kids out there that get away with a lot worse. And then also the drug addiction that Bam is facing,
Oh
on a
yeah,
daily
yeah.
basis. That's actually pretty prevalent out in our area, just because of the affluent community that they're in, and they have readily accessible cash to buy it.
Yeah, it's always fascinating because so often the narrative or maybe the stereotype or yeah, I think it's a stereotype narrative that people say, poor people are more addicted to drugs, or all the drugs are done by poor people, and it's like, well, no, not really. No, it's you haven't hung out with rich people because they do a lot more drugs, just a lot more drugs. It's.
Yeah, and I went to the University of Tampa, which is still actually a private institution. Uh,
Party.
yeah, great party school. Let me just tell
Mm.
you that. And this was back in the
Is
day that
being
I went.
recorded, by the way. Before we go on in this story, I just would like to remind you. I mean, we
What's
have
there?
no shame here at Toasty Tentacle, but you might have a career a future. I'm just saying. Go on.
I,
So a
well, I
friend
do
of
have a
yours,
this,
a
yes.
friend of yours who
No,
went
no,
to
no, no.
University of Tampa.
No, I'll say like the University of Tampa, definitely an affluent community of students there. I
Right.
I had friends that had Mercedes Benz, and I didn't even have a car my freshman year.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, living in Tampa with no car is very, very difficult.
It's weird.
It's
It's a
weird.
very small place, but it just doesn't have anything near like public transportation you could rely on. It's very strange.
It is very strange, but I had friends that came from very affluent backgrounds, and I was just kind of shocked of how this money was spent. But you would go to things on campus or off campus or Ybor City, and you would just see things. And some of my friends just did it recreationally. Some of them, I have no idea where they're at right now because of their usage. I hope they're safe. um, I'm hoping so, but I know a couple of friends ended up in a really bad scene, and I think one of them has already passed away in his 20s because of it. So, right, I know, Debbie Downer moment. Wah, wah.
No, it's great. I'm putting on a puppet to make a really comment about like don't be drugging. And I'm like, oh, she's talking about people dying from drug overdoses.
I
Well,
know.
that's not
I
the time
know.
for a
No,
puppet. I'm
no,
just
go ahead and do your Nancy Reagan bit. Just go ahead. Go ahead and make
oh
Nancy.
no, that's
Just say no to
fine.
drugs.
Just say no to drugs.
Say no.
You better say something more than no. Like, here's a doobie, don't do meth. I mean, honestly, if we had honest drug policy, I love it because in Florida, there's Morgan and Morgan. He really got
John Morgan,
on,
yeah.
yeah, John Morgan really got on the pro legalization tip because of his father going through cancer. And he said, this man
Hmm.
is on so many drugs and chemotherapy, and I've seen him not be able to hold down anything. And then
Hmm.
he gets high and he's got an appetite. He's dealing with the pain and I'd like to say most people that are for pro pot are doing it for pain relief, but it's more like the existential pain relief that it really helps with. um, but I think it's always fascinating to get I'm really not sure where I was going with that. I had a point there, I'm sure.
Well, I think there's a point with having medicinal drugs versus recreational.
Yes, thank you.
So, yeah, like for me, I can tell you that I had a prescription to legal speed. I had uh, what was it called? Basically, Provigil.
Okay.
It's a drug that keeps you up. It's an upper,
Yeah, that stuff is
and yeah, it's a good stuff.
so
Um,
I've heard.
so
Okay.
so I had it for a little bit, and I ended up stop using it because it didn't make me feel any better. It didn't improve my condition that I was dealing with at the time.
Mhm.
But then I see people who have had marijuana in edible format versus smoking it, or in other ways, and they've actually gotten a lot of relief from their ailments. And
Right.
I don't knock it because it's never really been thoroughly studied here in the United States. I know that Israel has been the biggest proponent of
Hmm.
marijuana studies. And I think that we have to be open to other options of remedies other than just the pharmaceutical.
Right.
um, Especially now with COVID-19. Look at how many drugs are being tested right now,
Yeah.
and non so accurate ways, trying to get FDA
What,
trying to get
what,
FDA approval. We'll just throw this at it
oh
and that at
yeah,
it.
when they start talking about like emergency use authorization, they're just like, so we're gonna go ahead and just sidestep everything, and you're gonna sign this piece of paper that said when you die, or maybe if you die, your kids won't come after us. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's some yeah.
it's some crazy stuff. And I I don't fault anybody for not liking drugs or anything like that, and not wanting it. I don't take any prescription drugs if I don't have to.
Right.
I try to do as much holistic approach with my life, but marijuana is one thing, legal speed and Ritalin for children is another.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think when you have emergency medicine in situations like this, if you want to try it and you're willing to take that risk and be a guinea pig, go for it,
Right.
because anything can help, and anything can help at this point.
Yeah. I think it centers around both an ignorance and a avoidance of chemistry. Like I think that I always find people that have a knowledge of chemistry to be a little more adjusted in the world. Like they seem to see things a little differently. Now they still drink coffee, so it's not like, they still smoke cigarettes and drink coffee, so it's not like chemists or some Puritans or teetotalers. But it's a friend of mine once said, she's like, I knew this anesthesiologist that had a drug problem, and I'm like, that's that's kind of redundant, don't you think? Anyway, stupid jokes aside, I mean, it's like, I enjoy people who explore their chemistry. Like I don't trust people that don't drink coffee or tea or have some kind of something in their life, and even if it's like chamomile or suffocated kumquat juice, whatever it is that kind of brings you your zen moment, because it all in a sense is chemistry. And I don't know. I don't trust people that don't play with their chemistry. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm just taking a standpoint. I'm not saying you're not cool, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
Mhm.
I have a coca tea that I brought back from Colombia, and had coca tea when I was there. When I went up into the mountains of Montserrat, uh, that was a big adjustment, and I really did feel altitude sickness after being launched up 5,000 feet in 5 seconds. But I started feeling that queasiness, that headache was coming on, and luckily one of the stall vendors was giving us like a tour and different goods that they produced in Colombia. And the one thing I had was the coca tea, and it really helped, and it was amazing. And everybody else in my group who was suffering from altitude sickness, it was a wonderful tea with a little bit of honey, and you just drink a little bit and you feel fantastic.
All right, now
um
let's just clarify. We're not talking cacao tea like it's from chocolate. We're talking coca tea, from whence they derive
Correct.
cocaine.
This is just, like having an herbal tea, just like if you were to take
Right.
dandelions right off the
Right.
ground
Like
and
if you were to chew on a poppy or as opposed to shooting
correct.
heroin, right. It's all,
Correct.
a lot of chemistry is about concentration, and it's not so much this curiosity, it's the concentration that'll usually kill you. So,
Exactly. And so I feel for people, like I won't drink or eat anything with poppy in it. But
okay, sure.
because that's just my personal taste. I don't like poppies. But yeah, a holistic, the raw format, I think is absolutely fine for most people. I think we need to explore more of it. I
Mm,
know that in some of my healthcare groups, they are using Manuka honey actually as a
mm,
healing property, and putting that on open sores that don't seem to heal all the time. And I think that's a great opportunity for those who actually have chronic issues with actual wound care. That Manuka honey is actually a good benefit if you can find it and afford it, because Manuka honey is not cheap.
so what is Manuka honey? I'm not familiar with this. What is Manuka honey?
So Manuka honey is from a specific region. I think it's in New Zealand. It's from a specific type of a bee product. So in its raw format, the comb in the honey is actually processed into, you can get it into pads or a salve or something along those lines, and you can just apply it and then cover it. And there's certain properties within that honey that's different than traditional, honeybee honey that we get here, like clover honey or orange honey. There's this different property either with the chemical base or with the actual proteins in the honey itself that actually produce a better healing
Hmm.
concentration for the wound. So I know quite a few people in the hidradenitis suppurativa community that I'm part of on Facebook. They swear by it, especially when they have open lesions that do not want to heal.
Oh, okay, very good. I have a friend that's always looking for new skincare products because they're in a bad spot because they're both on blood thinners, and they have not the greatest elastic skin. So sometimes they get a lot of breaks, but they're not like really full cuts or anything. But they're kind of just breaks, and it's kind of that dry skin on the edge of being really problematic. So. I'm always looking for good things like that, so that's always fun. I'm glad we bring that up. Now, I'm sorry we've gone on so many tangents, and I appreciate you
That's my life.
running the gamut with it. Well, this is testament to your improvisational finesse. Let's just throw it out there. Hello, hello. Um,
Hello.
but I did want to talk about some of the stuff that you're working on right now. You sent me some information about
You help. You help care.
You Help Care. Tell me a little about You Help Care that you're working on.
Okay, so you help care in the quick elevator speech. Uh, UhelpCare is a online peer sharing community platform for patients, families, and caregivers to come into one online location, like a one-stop shop, and be able to share information, resources, and experiences to ultimately drive down the cost of healthcare and caregiving. So it's really what we're calling it is a Facebook on steroids, where it's like a hub community. You come into the center, you tell us more about what your situation is as a caregiver or a patient, and then we help navigate you to whatever you may need in the community. And we're looking to build out our first application, actually, which is going to be called NOCSTAT. It's Nurse on Call Stat. It's
Mhm.
an application that's going to make caregiving a lot faster and more reliable, where you can hire directly from your application on your phone, and then you'll have somebody at your house within an hour to 2 hours from ordering somebody to help care for your loved one.
Cool. So like Uber for home health care.
Yes, you get the
Yeah,
concept.
that's how we speak nowadays. I'm sorry. Do you speak Fortune 50? Because if you speak Fortune 50, I understand what you're talking about. So you're
Yes.
saying your logistics are like the Amazon of home healthcare, but your nursing assistant is like the Uber. Uber? Oh, you
It
said
is.
Lyft. Oh, I don't know if I get that reference if you do it
Yeah,
that way.
Lyft. What's Lyft?
Ooh.
Yeah, so yeah, we consider ourselves we consider ourselves the Amazon navigation system
Okay.
of the community, and then we with Noxstat, it will be the Uber Lyft of healthcare providers in home.
Very good. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a very good thing, and it's very important in this day and age. I think America is about to come into a renaissance when it comes to American healthcare. Um, so I think people are just going to have to re-examine the whole system in general. Namely, because we have a lot of viruses coming out of a part of the world that also almost exclusively manufactures our medical protective equipment, which is just a bad combination. What did they say that all of the IVs in the world were manufactured out of Puerto
Puerto
Rico?
Rico. Yeah,
And
those IV bags, yeah.
yes, and that one storm took out like the world's IV producer. And you're like, oh, globalization, maybe a touch of redundancy wouldn't be a terrible thing. But the other thing, excuse me, the other thing that we're going to have with healthcare is I think you're going to see people talk about like a national healthcare system in this country. And one of the things that I think is really fascinating is that you have like national service or civil service. You know, so many high schools and colleges require civil service, community service to graduate. And
Hmm.
you think about, you know, what are some of the complaints about a lot of these industries is that they don't have enough people. And so if you think about this combination of you've got a lot of kids that need to do things and learn things like compassion on, I don't know, how to perform CPR or God, a tracheotomy, not off of Grey's Anatomy. And then you've got this massive healthcare system that was caught massively unaware. And I think you can marry these two things up. And I think some real potential is going to come out of that in the next, you know, and then in the decades to come.
And that was the whole process for Knoxstat, where we
Mhm.
know that there's a lot of what we call companion care, which is non-skilled nursing care. Somebody who just can sit with a senior or somebody who's disabled, help cook meals, clean the house, keep them company, talk to them. And that can be a high school student looking to get their, grant applications in, and they need to have so many volunteer hours. They don't need to get paid. It would be nice if they got paid, but that's the whole premise. We know that there's a lot of people in the community that are young that need those volunteer hours, and then there's those who have been through the caregiving process and would like to give back and help other people through the caregiving path that they're on, because
Yeah.
everybody's different.
Yeah, and I think the caring community needs that because so often the people who need the time are not the people who can afford the premium. You know, there's so many levels of companion care. There's the people who are just within earshot to make sure you don't fall down, and then there are the people that physically have to keep eyes on you just in case really bad things could happen. And to find the availability and the need for those various levels, I think is an amazing logistical feat, and it's exciting to hear you work on stuff like that. Now, selfishly, I'm going to change gears for just a second, right before we're out of here. So when are you going to be finishing your book? That book you laughed at, Rebecca. You laughed at me.
Yeah,
I
I
I didn't
did.
I didn't want to
What book?
I didn't want to throw you under the bus on the thing, but I am anyway because I'm throwing you under the bus for our previous conversation. Where
Yeah.
what do you mean what book? You are too storied a person not to have a book. Where's the book that's in your head that isn't on paper? Where is it?
Well, actually, because of the healthcare situation
Hmm.
and,
Hmm.
my path and journey in life, I don't feel like a book about me really is that
Okay. Okay.
needed,
Okay.
because everybody else has their life, and I think everybody has the good golden nuggets within their own life that they can help,
Sure. Uh-oh. Where'd you go, Rebecca? Oh no.
you know,
Oh, oh, Rebecca, are you still
girl,
there?
for a sense.
Oh,
And I'm here. Can you hear
okay.
me?
Yeah, sorry, you timed out for just a quick second. If you could dial it back 30, like 5 seconds of thought. I know, no pressure, right? Oh,
Okay.
oh no, you're sounding like a really cool transformer.
No pressure.
No, no pressure. You're fine.
Oh yeah, because your
You're
screen
you're
went
center
solid.
stage. You're center stage. We're fine. Everything's fine. Oh, see, this is why we do what we
There we
do.
go.
There we
There we
go.
go. There we go.
Man, all
There we go.
right. So once again, we were
So,
saying,
once again, I was saying, I feel like everybody needs to talk to each other because everybody has the golden nuggets in their life that they need to share. And
yes,
having it written on a book is great that you can share it to the masses. But
yes,
I think it's having the one on one conversations with people and giving your golden nuggets to those people that probably would appreciate it at the time.
yeah,
Because I personally don't like reading books.
yeah.
But in writing something, I actually have considered writing a screenplay.
Okay,
Uh, talking about the love of a parent and a child when the roles are reversed.
okay.
And that has been in my mind for a very long time. I've already kind of had my actors in my head who I want to
Uh-huh.
play. The roles. Like I would love to have Patrick Stewart as my dad. Um,
Mm. Is it a
and
script or is it just a daydream that we're getting real elaborate about? Mm.
No, no, no. Even though I love Jean-Luc Picard, I love Patrick Stewart. Kind of, sort of looks like my dad. I think he would be great as my dad and having an American accent, especially a Philadelphia American accent. Um, and then having Kathy Bates as my mom, because I swear to God, my mother looks like Kathy Bates.
Well, it sounds like you've already got it planned in your head.
It's
What
all
I
there.
encourage you to do is I'll bug you about it. Just invest 15 minutes a day, and I want to see this written piece manifest. I'm sorry, we're all out of time for today, but we'll put your links down in the description. We'd love to have you come back and follow up with us at the other time. And if you give us one parting shot, final words, if you never hear from us again, what wisdom do you want to leave us with, Rebecca? Go ahead.
Healthcare is not a single person entity. It's actually a global issue. So always help each other out because it does take a village to live.
Wow, that is snappy, and that's going to go right on a fortune cookie. Rebecca Paone, thank you so much for joining us today, and thanks for everything you do.
Well,
We'll
thank you,
talk soon.
Sean. Yes, absolutely. Bye, guys.
Bye.